I told you to upload again. You didn't believe me. Here I am. I am in my room now. Welcome. So I'm doing this now because I have this. It's a colored pencil drawing that I'm working on that was supposed to be due and uploaded to my school website an hour ago, but we won't tell anybody that. It's okay. Essentially, what the project entailed was to take a body part from multiple angles and make sure that that body part was touching at least three sides of the drawing. So I picked noses. I took a lot of pictures of my nose. I'll probably pop some of those up on the screen right now. And made this, which I flipped upside down and then turned into this. You can't really tell that they're noses anymore, but I think that's part of the charm of it. I had fun adding like the glossy textures as well as the block formations and the squiggles and the scribbles and the layered portions here. And I'm almost done. I just have to do this one little bit. So I figured I'd do that on camera. So let's start. I didn't actually plan what I was going to do for this part, so I'm just going to go with it. You know, I haven't really done any clusters of circles that look like scales or something, so I think I'll go with that. But now I'm bored of that. I don't want to color all those, so. Oops. Still not used to this camera thing. Oh, speaking of which, I have a phone stand now, so that's more helpful. However, this phone stand is a little bit broken, so that shouldn't matter though. See, this took an extremely long time. I spent the entire day yesterday just doing this drawing, and it's a lot smaller than drawings I usually make. Well, the bigger size at least. Because I usually do like a 22 by 30 piece of paper, and this is only 18 by 24. But just the amount of texture and color and pressing down with the colored pencil and layering of the pencils that you have to do for big colored pencil drawings is kind of crazy. And so it took most of the day to finish this yesterday, and I'm only finishing it now. I was up until 1 o'clock a.m. yesterday, which honestly I figured I'd be up way later, but I got some sleep, so that's nice. I thought about filming something like this at 1 a.m., but I was feeling very groggy and very tired. I hadn't showered, even gotten dressed. Wasn't in the right place. Excuse me. So we're doing it now. Sorry, I'm not exactly commentating fully during this part. Just take some concentration. But I want to make sure that this section is a bit more complex than the red section right above it, because as I started this, I started this drawing, well, first of all, with this thing, which is like the bridge of a nose, one of many noses. And then I sort of made my way up to here and realized that everything I was doing here and down here was extremely busy in its design and its patterns and stuff. So when I got to the red section, I made sure to construct just very basic, simple shapes as sort of a place for the eye to rest as you're looking throughout the piece, because otherwise it just, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the more detail elements without something that's more in the background, if that makes sense. Something more plain, rather. But since this blue section is sort of a continuation from this blue section, I do want it to have a little bit more of that complexity to it. What do we want to put there? You know what? Let's go crazy. Neon pink. We have a giant neon pink shape right here, and I feel like having one over here that's a little bit smaller would balance that out a bit. The Prismacolor neon pencils don't go down as smoothly as the other pencils. See, they get kind of clumpy in areas, but the colors are really cool, so I like to use them. I have an orange one and a yellow one too. I use the yellow one pretty frequently, like in huge shapes like this, but also layering things like some of this area, as well as this cell right here, and just bits of lines throughout the entire piece. The orange is a little bit harder to spot. Nah, just kidding, it's right here. It's all over. I forgot. I just did that today. Also here. Also here. I completely lied about orange being hard to spot. Sorry about that. Just gonna block in some more of this blue and a few lines. Texture. Color that bit in. That looks pretty good. There it is. there's one thing I do want to try before I actually call it done. The background, since it's white, picks up a lot of this residue from just rubbing the pencil dust across, like when you're erasing or blending, and it just kind of piles up and kind of dirties the background a bit. So I have an idea. I kind of think that it would be cool to make the background black. It's a little bit risky, but I do have these oil-based Sharpie pens. Hey, look, it's me. I made that a few years ago. Anyway, I have these oil-based Sharpie pens. Basically, you shake them, you press them, and then you get this nice solid black color that you can just lay down, and it looks really good. But I think I want to test it on another sheet of paper before I give it a go, because I don't want to wreck this thing I spent so much time on and is also overdue. So I'll be back in a sec. So on this practice design drawing that I did, I actually indicated spaces where I wanted to leave it white. But now I'm going to see... Well, I'm basically just seeing if this bleeds through, which isn't even the same kind of paper, but, you know, you get that nice sort of finished black matte look. You know what? I'll just put it on this one. I'll use this for something else. So that's sort of what it looks like. It does bleed. While we're waiting for that, last week I talked about clowns. Wait, was that last week? Whoop, yeah, it was Friday. Yeah, because I'm making a painting that has a clown in it with no torso. And the first artwork that I made was like a performance art sort of piece involving a clown. What was I saying? The first artwork that I made involving a clown was a performance art piece that I did for my class. It was based on performative mindsets and the idea of inventing ways for you to be judged for yourself based on how you perceive other people's expectations of you. And I did that in the form of like a rehearsed and scripted live drawing session where I tried to draw this clown right here. And basically what I did is I stood up and I had this whole thing rehearsed. I still have the script somewhere. But I had multiple sheets of paper on this clipboard that I mounted on the wall. And I would go through this whole routine of keep messing up the drawing. And every time get more and more frustrated. And then there's even some slapstick incorporated where like the board would fall, I'd catch it, and I would tear off the piece of paper. And then I would like go into the audience and do a little improv by like asking somebody there, an audience like critique group or whatever. It was a class. But I would go there and ask like questions really quietly to them so everybody else could only like barely hear it. And then at the end I unveiled like this one where this is the one I was trying to do the whole time. See, I can draw fine. And it's basically pretending that the audience was extremely disappointed in my drawing ability and making a whole show of it. And I got to yell directly into my professor's face, and it was really funny. It was fun. And then everybody signed it because I stormed out of the room. I didn't listen in for critique. Don't call those numbers. I haven't called them, and I am concerned where they may lead you. Don't do it. Be safe. That's still tacky. Yikes. This just really like sits on top of the page, doesn't it? That usually doesn't happen on other surfaces. Is this one just kind of special in that way? It's bleeding. I don't really have anything aside from, water-based markers and more colored pencil to fill in this area without wrecking it. And I really don't want to use more colored pencil because that's like a third of the drawing that I have to press down, and it's going to be an uneven surface. So I think I'm just going to give it a shot, and whatever happens, happens. I figured I'd show at least the first part if I'm going to do this. Probably going to start with this, because that's just the simplest, easiest contour to trace. I'm going to use I don't know which one I should use. I wonder if the contour is going to show up if I use the smaller one first. Tricky. But I probably should, just to be on the safe side. I don't want to risk wrecking the red here with the giant nib. Alright, let's give it a shot. That looks pretty good. Alright, so I got that down. And now to get the rest of this, I can use the big one. If I can pop it off. Guess I need 2 hands for this. Wow. We're there now. Working pretty well. Since it's oil-based, it won't really show those like overlap smears as much when it's dry. At least if I'm remembering properly, it won't do that. But we should end up with a pretty solid background. So we're sort of getting that layered thing a bit. You can tell where, lines have been drawn over. It's still a little, I guess it's kind of dry now, but oh well. It looks pretty good. So I'm just going to continue with it. Besides, it's kind of, congruent with the streakiness of the colored pencil in some areas, so it's not a huge deal. Alright, I'm going to finish this up, and I will see you when it's done. And there it is. And just like the fumes from those markers, it is bold. There's a spot here that for some reason way more came out of the marker than it should have, so it's like a puddle. But I'm just gonna let that dry. Overall, it's a little marky, but it's fine. It works with the colored pencils. You don't really notice it. I'm happy with it. I'm excited to not touch it again because I'm a little sick of colored pencils right now. They really take a toll. You have to press really hard. And I just have weak little artist arms, so what am I supposed to do? The good news is I can finally add finished drawing to my what I did October 14th board. Oh, I also did there we go. Now it's complete. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, check it out. These are all the pencil shavings that came from this drawing. This is how many times I had to sharpen my pencil. I eat off that. I probably shouldn't have done that, but it was for content, so it's fine. I should probably start making these videos more frequently because they really do help me with, gaining confidence when talking to camera and just showing off parts of my life, my art, my broken phone stand. Question of the day: should I get a new phone stand? Let me know. But I appreciate you being here and watching, and thank you. Have a lovely afternoon if you are watching this in the afternoon. Otherwise, don't.